The beggar saved the dog, but it was the dog who saved him after. Michael had lost everything: his home, his family, his hope. Sleeping in a cold alley on a November night, he heard desperate whimpering coming from a dumpster. What he found inside would change his life forever, though not in the way he imagined. The night everything changed. The streets of Portland were unforgiving in November. Rain fell in sheets, soaking through Michael's worn jacket and the cardboard he'd carefully arranged beneath an overpass. At 47 years old, he never imagined his life would come to this: homeless, hungry, and utterly alone. It had been 3 years since the accident. 3 years since his construction business collapsed after he injured his back on a job site. 3 years since the medical bills piled up, the creditors came calling, and his wife packed her bags, taking their 2 daughters with her. "I can't watch you destroy yourself," she'd said, tears streaming down her face. But Michael saw it differently. She was abandoning him when he needed her most. The pain medication had helped at first, then it had consumed him. By the time he realized he had a problem, everything was gone: his business, his house, his family, and finally, his dignity. Now he was just another invisible person on the street, someone pedestrians looked past rather than at. On this particular Tuesday night, the temperature had dropped to near freezing. Michael huddled beneath his thin blanket, trying to preserve what little body heat he had left. His stomach growled. He hadn't eaten since yesterday morning when a kind stranger had given him half a sandwich. That's when he heard it. A whimpering sound, weak and desperate, coming from the dumpster about 20 feet away. At first, Michael tried to ignore it. He had enough problems of his own, but the sound persisted, growing more pitiful with each passing minute. "Damn it," he muttered, forcing his stiff, aching body to stand. He shuffled toward the dumpster, his breath visible in the cold night air. What he found inside broke his heart. A small dog, maybe 6 months old, was trapped beneath a pile of garbage bags. It was a mixed breed, part terrier, part something else, with matted brown and white fur. The poor animal was shivering violently, its eyes wide with fear and pain. Someone had thrown it away like trash. Michael's first instinct was to walk away. He could barely take care of himself. How could he possibly help a dog? But as he looked into those frightened eyes, he saw something familiar. The same desperation, the same abandonment, the same will to survive against all odds. "Okay, buddy," he said softly. "Let's get you out of there." Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can set in motion events we never see coming. If this story is touching your heart, keep reading, because Michael's decision to save this dog was just the beginning of an incredible journey. An unlikely pair. With considerable effort and more than a little pain to his injured back, Michael extracted the dog from the dumpster. The animal was even worse off than he'd thought. It wasn't just cold and scared, it was injured. Its left hind leg was bent at an odd angle, likely broken. There were cuts on its face, and it was dangerously thin. Michael carried the small dog back to his cardboard shelter. He removed his jacket and wrapped it around the small body, even though it meant he'd be colder. The dog looked up at him with an expression that seemed almost grateful. "What am I gonna do with you?" Michael asked, more to himself than the dog. He knew he should take the animal to a shelter, but the nearest one was miles away, and it wouldn't open until morning. Besides, he'd heard stories about shelters being overcrowded, about animals being euthanized when there wasn't enough space. This little guy had already been thrown away once. Michael couldn't bear the thought of it happening again. That night, Michael held the dog close, sharing his body heat. The animal stopped shivering eventually and fell into a fitful sleep. Michael named him Buddy. Simple, but fitting. As dawn broke over Portland, Michael faced a decision. The sensible thing would be to drop Buddy at the shelter and continue with his own struggle for survival. But when he looked at the small dog sleeping peacefully in his arms, he couldn't do it. "Looks like you're stuck with me," he whispered.
The struggle. The next few weeks were the hardest of Michael's life, and that was saying something. Taking care of Buddy meant that he had to think of someone other than himself for the first time in years. The dog needed food, and his broken leg needed attention. Michael spent an entire day begging for money, not for himself, but to take Buddy to a free veterinary clinic run by volunteers. The vet, a kind woman named Dr. Sarah Martinez, examined Buddy and shook her head. "This leg needs to be set properly. It's going to cost about $200 for the supplies, even with me donating my time." Michael's heart sunk. He didn't have $200. He didn't have $20. Dr. Martinez must have seen the devastation on his face. "Tell you what," she said, "you help out around here, cleaning, organizing supplies, helping with the other animals, and I'll take care of your dog. Deal?" Michael agreed immediately. For the next month, Michael spent his days working at the clinic and his nights on the street with Buddy. It was exhausting, but something strange was happening. For the first time since his fall from grace, Michael had a purpose. He had a reason to get up in the morning. He had someone depending on him. Buddy's leg healed slowly but surely. As he regained his strength, the dog's personality emerged. He was playful, loyal, and remarkably intelligent. More importantly, he was devoted to Michael with a fierce, unwavering love. The transformation. Winter gave way to spring, and Michael noticed something changing. People treated him differently when he was with Buddy. They smiled, stopped to pet the dog, asked about his story. Suddenly, Michael wasn't invisible anymore. A woman named Claire, who worked near a coffee shop, started saving scraps for Buddy. She'd bring them out with a cup of hot coffee for Michael. They'd talk, and Michael found himself laughing for the first time in years. "You're good with him," she observed one morning. "Have you ever thought about working with animals professionally?" The question caught Michael off guard. Him? Working with animals? He'd been a construction worker, not a veterinarian or a dog trainer, but the seed was planted. Dr. Martinez had been pleased with his work at the clinic. "You have a gift," she told him. "The animals respond to you. You're patient, gentle, and you genuinely care." One evening, as Michael sat with Buddy watching the sunset from their spot under the overpass, he had a realization. For 3 years, he'd been drowning in self-pity and addiction. He'd told himself his life was over, that he was worthless, that no one cared whether he lived or died. But Buddy had shown him something different. Buddy cared. Every morning, the dog greeted him with excitement and love. Every night, Buddy curled up beside him, offering warmth and companionship. Buddy depended on him, trusted him, loved him unconditionally. "You saved me, didn't you, boy?" Michael said, scratching behind Buddy's ears. "I thought I was saving you, but you saved me." Michael's transformation was just beginning, but it required him to take the hardest step of all, believing he deserved a second chance. What happened next would test that belief in ways he never expected. Keep reading to discover how one man and his dog changed an entire community. The turning point. It happened on a rainy Tuesday in April, almost 6 months after Michael had found Buddy. Michael was walking Buddy through a park when he heard screams. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, had wandered too close to a pond and fallen in. She was thrashing in the water, going under, coming back up, her mother screaming hysterically on the shore. Without thinking, Michael ran. His bad back protested, but he ignored it. He hit the water and swam toward the girl. When he reached her, she was panicking, pulling him under. But Michael kept his head, remembering the lifeguard training he'd taken decades ago in high school. He got her to shore, where paramedics had already arrived. The little girl would be fine. Her mother, tears streaming down her face, tried to thank him. "You saved her life," she kept saying. "You saved my daughter's life." A crowd had gathered, and Michael felt uncomfortable with all the attention. He tried to slip away, but a man stopped him.
"That was incredibly brave," the man said, extending his hand. "I'm Robert Chen. I own a construction company here in Portland. I couldn't help but notice you moved like someone who knows his way around a rescue."
I used to work construction, Michael admitted. Before... He didn't finish the sentence, but Robert seemed to understand. We could use someone with your courage and quick thinking. Would you be interested in a job? It's just labor to start, but it's honest work. Michael felt tears prick his eyes. A job, a real job. I don't have an address, or clean clothes, or... We'll figure it out, Robert said. Be at this address tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. He handed Michael a business card. That night, Michael held Buddy close. Things are going to change, Buddy, he whispered. We're going to be okay. Building a new life. Robert Chen was true to his word. He not only gave Michael a job, but helped him find a spot in a transitional housing program. For the first time in 3 years, Michael had a roof over his head, and Buddy was allowed to stay with him. The work was hard, and Michael's back ached every night, but it was good pain, honest pain, the pain of building something rather than destroying himself. He saved every penny he could. 3 months later, Dr. Martinez approached him with an idea. The clinic is expanding, she said. We're creating a program to train shelter dogs as therapy animals. I want you to run it. Me? Michael was stunned. I'm not qualified. You're more qualified than you think, Dr. Martinez insisted. You understand what it's like to need a second chance. You know how much an animal's love can heal. We'll send you to get certified. What do you say? Michael looked at Buddy, who was lying at his feet, tail wagging. Yes, he said. Yes, absolutely. Full circle. 2 years after finding Buddy in that dumpster, Michael stood in front of a group of reporters. The local news had gotten wind of his story. Homeless man saves dog. Dog inspires man to turn his life around. Man creates a program that rehabilitates both rescue dogs and struggling people. The program, called Second Chances, paired rescue dogs with people working to overcome addiction, homelessness, or other challenges. Together, the dogs and their trainers learned to heal. I didn't save Buddy, Michael said to the cameras, Buddy sitting proudly beside him in a service dog vest. He saved me. He gave me a reason to live when I'd forgotten how. He showed me that I still had value, that I could still contribute something to the world. The program was a massive success. Dozens of dogs found homes. Dozens of people found hope. And at the center of it all was Michael and Buddy, proof that salvation often comes from the most unexpected places. Michael had reconnected with his daughters, who were proud of what he'd accomplished. His ex-wife had reached out too, congratulating him. While they wouldn't get back together, they'd found a peaceful friendship. On the 2-year anniversary of finding Buddy, Michael returned to the alley where it all began. He brought a plaque that he mounted on the wall. This is where a man found a dog, and in saving him was saved. Never underestimate the power of compassion. The ripple effect. Michael's story spread far beyond Portland. Other cities started similar programs. Thousands of rescue dogs found homes. Thousands of people found hope. But Michael never forgot where he came from. Every week, he walked the streets where he once slept, Buddy at his side, talking to people who were still struggling. He offered them what he could: food, information about resources, and most importantly, hope. I see you, he'd tell them. You're not invisible. You matter. Some accepted his help. Some didn't. Michael understood. He'd been there. But he kept showing up, kept offering that outstretched hand, because one person had offered it to him when he needed it most. One cold November evening, Michael found himself back under that overpass. This time, he was there by choice, delivering blankets and food to those who had nowhere else to go. As he worked, he spotted a young woman huddled in the corner, a small puppy shivering in her arms. Michael approached slowly. "That's a cute dog," he said gently. The woman looked up, her eyes filled with the same desperation Michael remembered seeing in his own reflection years ago. "I found her in a trash can. I know I can't really take care of her, but I couldn't just leave her there." Michael smiled, his eyes meeting Buddy's. His faithful companion seemed to understand the significance of the moment. "I know someone who can help," Michael said, pulling out a card for the Second Chances program. "Both of you." Michael's journey from despair to purpose proves that it's never too late for a second chance. But he couldn't have done it without taking that first step, choosing compassion over apathy, action over surrender. What act of kindness could you do today that might change everything? Share this story if it moved you, and remember, we all have the power to save someone, and in doing so, save ourselves. The legacy. Today, Michael runs a thriving nonprofit. Second Chances has expanded to 15 cities, helping thousands of animals and people every year. He's written a book about his experience, with all proceeds going back into the program. He speaks at schools, conferences, and recovery centers, always with Buddy at his side.
Buddy is older now, gray around the muzzle, but his tail still wags whenever Michael enters the room. He's been retired from active therapy work, but he still comes to the office every day, greeting visitors and reminding everyone why the program exists. "People ask me all the time when I decided to turn my life around," Michael often says in his speeches. "The truth is, I didn't decide. I was forced into it by a half-starved dog who needed me more than I needed my next fix. Buddy didn't care about my past mistakes. He didn't judge me for losing everything. He just needed someone to show him kindness, and in return, he showed me that I was still capable of being kind, that I still mattered, that my life still had purpose." On Michael's desk sits a photo from that first night, Buddy wrapped in his jacket, both of them looking worn and weary. Next to it is a recent photo, Michael in a suit, Buddy with his service dog vest, both of them healthy and happy. The contrast is stunning. But Michael's favorite part of his job isn't the success stories or the awards. It's the moment when he sees the light come back into someone's eyes, when they realize that they can do this, that they're not alone, that they have value. It's the same light that came back into his own eyes on a cold November night when a small dog taught him that saving others is how we save ourselves. As I finish writing Michael's story, he's in his office. Buddy is asleep at his feet. He's reviewing applications for the program, people from all walks of life who've hit rock bottom and are looking for a way back up. "You know what I learned?" Michael tells me, scratching Buddy behind the ears. "Rock bottom isn't a place you get stuck. It's a foundation you can build on. Every person in this program, every dog we rescue, they're not defined by their worst moments, they're defined by what they do next." He pauses, looking at Buddy with profound love. "This dog taught me that. He was thrown away, broken, scared, but he didn't give up, and he wouldn't let me give up either. Every morning he gave me a reason to try. Every night he reminded me that I was needed." Michael's voice cracks slightly. "People think I saved him, but on that November night when I pulled him out of that dumpster, I was hours away from giving up completely. I'd decided that night would be my last. I couldn't see any reason to keep going." He takes a breath. "Then I heard him crying, and suddenly I had a reason. Someone needed me. This tiny broken creature needed me to be strong, and in being strong for him, I found strength for myself." This is the power of compassion, the miracle of second chances, and the profound truth that we're never too broken to make a difference. Michael saved Buddy, but Buddy saved Michael right back, and together they've saved thousands more. Your story isn't over. Your purpose is waiting. Sometimes it finds you in the most unexpected places. You just have to be willing to hear it crying out in the darkness. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who needs hope today, because you never know, you might just save them, and in doing so, save yourself. Today, the Second Chances program continues to grow, creating new beginnings one person and one rescue dog at a time.
Michael and Buddy's story reminds us that salvation isn't a solo journey. It's something we do together, lifting each other up, seeing value where others see waste, finding hope in the darkest places. We all have the power to be someone's buddy. We all have the power to pull someone out of the trash and show them they matter. The question is, will we take that chance? Because in the end, the beggar saved the dog, but it was the dog who saved him after. And that's how healing works, not in isolation, but in connection, not in taking, but in giving, not in finding worth, but in recognizing it was always there, waiting to be rediscovered. Every person you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind, be compassionate, be someone's reason to keep going. You might just save a life, and in the process, save yourself.